Senator Cantwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and again, thank you for this hearing. Obviously, looking to the future, lessons in prevention, response, and restoration are very important issues. As I outlined in my opening statement, I'm very concerned about the future as it relates to the Pacific Northwest. And so, Rear Admiral, I appreciate your testimony today and wanted to ask you, we put into the Coast Guard reauthorization bill language pushing Coast Guard to do analysis of the U.S. Canadian oil response agreements. Can you tell me whether some analysis has been done and what you think the agreements are in oil response between the United States and Canada?
I can't, on the record, produce that, but certainly I'd be pleased to do so. I will say that we have regular, at least on a quarterly basis, interactions with our Canadian partners on everything from oil spill to, to security among our common border. But I would be glad to provide you an update.
Thank you. So you will give me an analysis of those, what you think the existing agreements are and how they work and...
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. Do you think, I mean, God forbid that such a oil spill would happen in Canadian waters, do you think, according to this, whatever it is, verbal agreements or things that you have now, do you think the United States can enter those waters without the oil spill entering the United States?
We have shipwrighter agreements where we do law enforcement in Canadian waters, just as we invite RCMP officers onto our vessels. So we eliminate that seam between the United States and Canada. And I'm quite satisfied that we can do that in an environmental capacity. And I'll just follow with, I'm also as part of our Arctic Council for Search and Rescue, and the next part of that is looking at carbon emissions and maritime environment in the Arctic domain. Canada is signatory to that, and they are very committed to living up to that commitment as well.
Well, so you think the answer is yes, you can respond to an oil spill in Canadian waters?
I am confident that we will be able to do so.
Okay. And do you think that you can require supertankers to have a tug escort when they are a few miles within American waters?
We traditionally will work with the International Maritime Organization to ensure that these are global, oftentimes global issues that may affect ship routing that could have unintended consequences. So we look for those best practices. They certainly exist. When I was the commander of the 11th District in California, where we had the the Costco Busan, there are areas for tankers as they come into Richmond where we do require tug escorts. So certainly that governance structure is in place in select ports based on the given risk.
Do you think that we should look at that policy as it relates to this increase in traffic, given the fragile nature of, Puget Sound? I mean, it's a tricky waterway, as I think our chart's still there, shows and designates, and it's a very pristine area in the country. So do you think we should be reviewing this increase in tanker traffic? I mean, it's almost a 45% increase.
With any of these decisions, we do an extensive amount of outreach, whether it's with advisory committees, with the pilot associations, with our port authorities, because there are, if there's a rulemaking, it does have cost implications as well. But certainly, if those risk factors are made known to us, that would be the impetus for a rulemaking to advance that. This would create challenges since it would apply, in Canadian waters where this traffic originates. That would be a challenge for us.
What is your assessment of the Canadians' ability to respond to a major oil spill in this area?
I'll just go back to the spill of national significance exercise that we conducted last year, and it was a scenario where it was up in New England, and that oil would have then impacted Canadian waters as well. We invited Canada to participate, and they participated at the executive level, not in an observer status, but certainly recognize that we cannot allow seams to exist because oil is agnostic to borders, and that we need to be able to bridge that gap with appropriate response measures on both sides of that border.
I feel you're being very diplomatic, and so if I asked you to grade them, you would probably hesitate. But my point is, do you think they have the same preparedness that we do in responding to oil spills in the Northwest?
You know, any comment I would make, Senator, would be speculative, but certainly their earnestness in being a partner with the U.S. Coast Guard and with our regional response team process for under the National Contingency Plan, I see them as committed partners.
So you think they have the same capacity that we do?
I could not answer that question.
Okay, well, will you, in your analysis of the U.S. agreements, give us a sense of what you think their capacity is? This is a very big issue. The amount of traffic increase going through this very delicate waterways, tricky systems, where, again, most of the traffic we're talking about from Puget Sound does require local pilots and a variety of things. These are very important issues, so we'll look to get your views on the record on that.
I will be pleased to provide that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.